I don't know if you're getting one. It's quite big, cast iron.
You can do a little bit of frying, then you can put it in the oven. It's good for cooking fillet steaks.
But especially that. Yeah, I've got a fillet steak, like a Chateaubriand I bought in Costco this week.
Ooh, lovely.
It was 25 quid. That's for me and my dear wife. She won't eat much of it, so it's mainly mine.
The first time I ever went out to a posh restaurant was in a place called Finchley, I think it was.
Finchley? I used to live near there. That's where Maggie Thatcher used to be MP.
Yeah, it was in Finchley. And I'd been to restaurants, of course. I'd been to... But they were all sort of like chefs and Wimpeys and things like that. This was a posh restaurant that had wine and everything. And I ordered a Chateaubriand. I had no idea what a Chateaubriand was, but it sounded great, and it was a meal for two.
Well, it was hot.
It was fantastic. It was. It opened up the whole world to me of food. Up until that time, it'd been sausages and burgers and just,
Listen, mate. What's all this got to do with the price of bread?
Well, I was just talking about Chateaubriand.
Because there's a cover charge for bread.
Don't, because hey, listen, I bought some Serrano ham in this morning as well.
Well, where is it?
I was in that Tupperware box there on the top.
Big is it? Ain't going to go far, is it? With four of us?
There's one slice of Serrano ham between four of us. Mike, your generosity exceeds my expectations on a regular basis, but this actually tips the turtle.
And you know what he thought was champagne was is a framboise mixer for cocktails.
I don't know, Mike. You're
but the thought was
alien
there.
Being, right?
The thought was there.
Alan, can I ask you a question?
Yes, go on then.
Definition of posh.
Definition of posh.
You said you went to a posh place.
It's when you eat your peas from an upside down
Grumpy
fork.
old girl then, she is, isn't she? Sorry, Alan.
It's when you eat your peas from an upside down fork.
Oh, I can't do that. I scoop mine up, don't you?
If you scoop your peas, you're definitely not posh.
That's me.
If you put them on the back of your fork and then just gently bring them.
No, I can't do that at all.
Then you're definitely posh.
Can you do that?
Right, okay.
How crude. I mean, forks are designed, that's why they've got four little bits on them so you can pick up 4 peas, because you stab 4 peas.
Well,
are they prongs or tines?
I'm going to design.
The tines.
I'm going to design a new tool where you've got a cutting edge on this side of your fork, so you need a fork for cutting and.
This tool already exists.
Is there?
Yes.
Oh, well,
that's called a party fork.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ooh, where'd you get them? I can't find them.
You get them in a party fork shop.
Swiss Army knife.
Oh, I've got one of those.
Fork handles.
In fact, mine came in this. Oh, that was my question of fork handles. Have you seen those knives? I've been trying to get these. They stand up on their edge. They've got a flat edge on the handle, so they stand upright.
Yeah, I had
they're
them
great.
in a restaurant in France.
Indeed, in France, yes. And also they do plates that have got a bigger lip to them. So not a bowl, but they're a plate with a raised side.
They could come on the Grumpy Old Men show.
They're a job to get hold of as well. I did get some in Milton Keynes, but it weren't very good. They scratched.
Oh, scratched?
They scratched, yeah.
Like scratch cards?
Plates that scratch?
Sort of, yeah. I've got them in that shop down near Tesco's. What's it called? Where they got pottery and stuff. Sort of artefacts in the Far East and things.
I'm fascinated by this whole concept of scratching plates.
They scratch because the porcelain's not very good.
Yeah,
so when you use your knife for fork,
the next hardest thing to diamond or something, isn't it? Porcelain.
Is it really?
So
that's what you know. The Rolls Royce hubs on the wheel caps.
Yeah,
they're made of porcelain in the centre. Yeah.
So the
when we had a shadow,
the brake pads and Porsches as well. The upmarket Porsches.
Yeah,
porcelain.
Are they porcelain? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But I suppose then when you put some pork on it, you've got pork scratchings.
Well, yeah. In a nutshell. Yeah, but I was beginning to tell you. I had. Do you like salt beef? Do you like salt beef? Do you like salt beef?
No.
Oh, do you not? Oh, I love salt beef. I had that from a Lidl last night. It was quite nice with a mustard sauce.
Well, when I was young, I used to live.
Big piece or a little piece?
When I was young, I lived in northwest London, and
so did Bob.
On a Sunday morning, there were very few shops open, but the Jewish shops were open, and the Jewish sort of delicatessen was open, and you could go in there and get salt beef. Well, I'll tell you, that was just hot salt beef roll was I almost became Jewish.
We went in one in New York.
It was fantastic.
And we ordered like 2 sandwiches each, and she says, "Sir, you don't need 2 sandwiches each. You need one between you." And this thing came up, and it was like a brick, and it was full of salt beef, and it was fantastic. When I worked at my first job, there was a salt beef bar around the corner in Charing Cross Road. We used to go in there, and absolutely delightful.
Trouble
And
is,
the other thing Jewish, of course, is the old bagels and what they call bagels and smoked salmon, isn't it?
Trouble is with a lot of these things, and because you just mentioned that you had salt beef last night, and what did you say you had with it? Mayonnaise?
It was a mustard sauce.
Mustard sauce, is it? And that's the thing, because the salt beef was probably absolutely tasteless, but the mustard sauce gave it a flavour. It is very similar to turkey. Turkey is the most tasteless thing in the world.
Yeah, it depends how it's cooked.
Cranberry sauce with it.
Well, yeah, I don't
That's
eat.
why cranberry sauce was invented.
I did have turkey last Sunday, but we hardly ever have turkey. It's supposed to be better for you than other meats, isn't it?
I went to
white meat.
I've got ostrich as well.
We had a company Christmas do. We went to a place called Wootton Hall in Bletchley.
Walton Hall.
Walton Hall,
Yes.
Walton Hall.
Walton Hall, yeah.
And it was a fabulous night. There was a local band, the Clash were on there, and
Not the real one.
yeah, they were a great band, and Clash, I can't remember. But anyway, they were fabulous. A couple of girl singers, and they did a little bit of everything. So everybody was catered for, but the food was brilliant.
Really?
I was really surprised because there must have been a couple of hundred people there, and I'm thinking, how are they going to get Christmas dinner out to a couple of hundred people and it'd be nice? Well, they did manage it, and the turkey was very tasty. But the reason it was tasty is because it was nice. It was sort of. It was machine
Pre-cut crowns, wasn't it? Probably.
Yeah, pre-cut crowns,
Packaged.
and then it'd been soaked.
Half crowns.
Boiled in a bag.
It had been soaked in this sort of lovely gravy, and so it was moist and sort of flaky and moist at the same time. I'm not quite sure if that's the right combination.
Succulent.
It was succulent. It was lovely.
He's coming out with the big words now.
Brussels sprouts that you could die for. They were absolutely so gorgeous, lovely, small, sweet little Brussels
I
sprouts.
hate Brussels sprouts.
Well, they've changed over the years, haven't they? They used to be sort of really
We had bacon and
quite
nuts
sour
and
things, and I think the breeders or the growers have managed to.
Well, overcooked as well. I mean, that's what Mum's always overcooked them. They were they boiled in the pot from about September onwards, and then they came out and all soft and squashy.
Yeah, they weren't very nice, but these absolutely everything about this mass catering meal was fantastic. I was really surprised.
We used to go to Woburn Abbey. Did you ever eat in there when they had the Christmas do's? And they had this band called Street Life, and this dancing dervish, we used to think, and they were brilliant. They were there every year, the same band. And Copperfield, remember Copperfield, the band?
Yes.
We're keeping you up, Mr.
You
Grant.
are keeping my face. Well, I'm just bored with what you're talking about.
Bored with what we're talking about.
What are you talking about?
Well, what do you want to talk about then? Come on. Tell us what you want to talk about.
I'm beginning to think this is one of the most boring shows I've ever been on, but...
It's not very nice, is it?
I don't care.
What do you think of this?
Very festive.
I couldn't get tums, I'm the boss, so shut up.
No, you're not the boss. You're not the boss. You're only the boss when we allow you to.
Right, okay, take their microphones out again.
It's just because you've got a bit of power.
Listen, I'm going to give a tip to our listener who I shouldn't really be teaching Grandma to suck eggs, but I don't know. I would like a bit of feedback actually from one of the girls that are listening today. This is a tip that I haven't tried yet, and I'm a bit dubious about trying it for Christmas Day, but apparently it's a big time saver because you cook your vegetables like your potatoes and your Brussels sprouts, your carrots, peas and all that, but then you sort of parboil them, and then you take them out and you put them in a polythene bag and put them in the fridge overnight. And you could do that today, tomorrow, before Christmas Day. And then on Christmas Day, you take the polythene bag out and put it into a pot of boiling water and finish off cooking your vegetables. So it seems like a real good time saver, but I'm not so sure, so because no doubt my potatoes will come out all stuck to the inside of the bag or something, so I don't know. But
that's worth giving it a go, I would suggest.
Well, I will.
If one's got the time.
I will give it a go, but I mean, I've got to cook for 10 people on Christmas Day, and I don't want to. I'd much rather have it and try in a tested manner that I know myself, rather than trying out any of these fancy naked chef's ideas, because that's the other problem I get into trouble in my house, because Jamie Oliver, the naked chef, I thought he meant it literally. So of course I came down in the kitchen one day and I was absolutely in the altogether, and my wife wasn't impressed at all.
I tell you what,
she said something about the pigs in blanket. I don't know, but what are you going to tell me then, Mr. Bluffield?
Jamie Oliver's not a chef, is he? He's a cook, and the difference being, I think, a chef is trained and a cook is not.
Oh well, I'm a cook.
I think you mix those up, Kevin.
I did not.
I'm a cook then. because I've never been trained at all. I can boil an egg. In fact, I make a very good boiled egg.
You're a very good cook, aren't you?
I am a very good cook.
Yeah, most blokes are.
I must just say
takes
that.
it naturally.
I think the thing is when you're allowed to go in the kitchen
That's
and
the problem.
use the
facilities.
The facilities, yes, you know, because I mean, I know there's a very good friend of mine actually, you know, that he's not allowed in his kitchen at all, and in fact, I'm surprised really that he's got a kitchen in the house because part of the oven has never been used. I mean, he's got a bread maker that's never been out of the packet.
You're talking about me, aren't you? Here, you're talking about me.
No,
if your cap fits.
No. Because I said if you listen to what I said a very good friend of mine.
Oh, that's a proviso, was it?
So don't try and put yourself in that bracket.
Well, I'm the same. Then.
I'm sorry.
I went out shopping, gentlemen, yesterday.
You did?
and
Was that first?
Oh, no, I do it on a regular basis. So I was in a well-known local supermarket.
Name it.
And I was buying Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's, yes, we go. The big one.
There's
Yeah,
Tesco's.
the big one in Central Milton Keynes. And I wanted to buy a turkey of some description because I'm going to be cooking some Christmas dinner, and I was amazed at the price.
Oh no, it's colossal. It's really gone up
a
prices.
decent sized turkey is £45-50.
Yeah. You should have had a Chateaubriand for 25 in Costco.
Well, there's a lot to be said.
And you'd
for
probably
that.
get a lot more enjoyment out of it.
I probably would actually. Nevertheless, I ended up paying £50 for what amounts to a turkey crown with some bacon on it. You know, it looks very nice, to be honest. It's nicely packed and everything else, but £50. It just.
It's like
beggars belief, isn't it? Beggars belief.
It's like
those Norfolk farmers must be very rich people.
Well, he died, didn't he?
Bernard Matthews.
Bernard Matthews, did he?
Yeah.
He must have died of being buried in money, I think.
He did.
But, you know, the money they charge for these... I always thought turkeys was relatively inexpensive.
They are, but it's a little bit like when my daughter used to run a flower shop. You know, on 5 days before Valentine's Day, you could go in and buy a dozen red roses for about £2. You know, come Valentine's Day or the day before, they were. £15-20 for a bunch of roses, and then on Valentine's Day,
do you mean retailers actually sometimes capitalise on the fact that it's a particular time of year and the pressure for goods will go up?
Alan, I'm afraid to admit it, but you're absolutely right.
I'm
hit the nail on the head.
I'm increasingly shocked and horrified by the commercial world and the pressures it puts on all of us.
So am I. You know, and talking about that, I was reading. I mean, this business of Ryanair, you know, and they're now going to recognise their pilots and all that sort of thing, but I was reading in one of the national newspapers that the staff are so ill-treated, it's just not true. And in fact, I'm really surprised. You actually have to pay if you want to go and train to be a trolley dolly on Ryanair. You've got to pay for it, and you don't get paid. You only get paid for the flight, so you can work a 12-hour day. But in fact, if you've only been flying for 3 or 4 of those hours, you only get paid for 4 hours. You know, and it's quite disgusting the way they actually treat their staff. But at the end of it, Ryanair is the most successful budget airline.
Yeah, but
Michael O'Leary is a shrewd businessman.
Isn't he just?
But he doesn't own Ryanair.
No, he doesn't.
No, he's a 45% shareholder.
Yeah.
But he's the one that got it going. I mean, it was almost bankrupt when Tony Ryan started and ran it. He only had a couple of little prop planes.
Did he?
And he came along on a percentage basis, on a profit sharing basis. He didn't get a salary initially, and he said I'd turn it round on the proviso that he would make a load of money out of it.
Whatever happened to Stavros?
He sold out, didn't he?
He was the leading light in budget airlines for quite a long time.
Yeah, do you know he was on a charge for murder in Cyprus? But it was some trumped-up charge. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
somebody died or something, and it was like corporate murder, I think.
We live in a very strange world. I'm so pleased I live in the United Kingdom of England and Great Britain and Northern Ireland and Scotland.
It's a woman that runs Ryanair.
It's interesting because we have our maintenance man in the studio at the moment here, and he's doing some tightening down of one of the microphone stands, and it's a good job that our professional technical operator here this morning is actually on the ball because that noise that you would have heard through the airways, you wouldn't have understood and known what it was.
Who's this technical operator?
Is this professional technical operator?
Who are we talking about?
Well, the bloke that the producer sat there in the chair and
who's that then? It's a bit fatty, isn't it?
No,
is this a bit of self-flagellation, Mike?
I beg your pardon.
Flagellation.
I did wash my hands first.
Do you know what a flagello is?
No.
It's a musical instrument. It's like a flute.